For centuries, black people across the world have been systematically placed into a structure of control, one that limits opportunities, extracts wealth, and ensures dependence on external systems. This is not a coincidence. It is not simply a byproduct of historical injustices. It is an ongoing, intentional system designed to exploit, contain, and weaken black communities. This system functions in multiple layers. Economic control. Black people are systematically excluded from wealth-building opportunities through redlining, predatory lending, underpaid labor, and gentrification. Even when we build wealth, we are strategically targeted with taxation policies, financial blockades, and corporate sabotage that make it difficult to retain and transfer wealth generationally. Social control. The media, education, and entertainment industries have been weaponized to shape a false narrative about black people. Black history is erased, our achievements are downplayed, and we are shown distorted images of ourselves that reinforce inferiority and self-hate. Through mass incarceration, police violence, and public policy, the state maintains an atmosphere of fear, division, and subjugation. Psychological control. One of the most powerful tools of oppression is mental programming. By controlling education, religion, and cultural norms, the system has conditioned black people to accept their place within the structure instead of questioning and dismantling it. We are taught to be consumers rather than producers, workers rather than owners, and entertainers rather than leaders. The system was not built for us, it was built to exploit us. Black communities worldwide share a common struggle, the inability to truly control our own destinies, economies, and infrastructures. The current system was never designed to uplift black people. It was designed to extract our labor, culture, and creativity for the benefit of others. We are the backbone of global industries, fashion, music, sports, entertainment, labor, but own almost none of them. We are the largest consumer base in many economies, yet hold minimal control over production, distribution, or ownership. We create global trends and innovations, but corporations steal, patent, and resell our own culture to us. The harsh reality is that every time black people attempt to build self-sufficiency, we are met with economic sabotage, political opposition, and even violent retaliation. From Black Wall Street to African independence movements, history has shown that black empowerment is seen as a threat to the global power structure. This is why we cannot rely on the system to fix itself. We must build our own. We are not here to protest. Protests have a place, but protests do not build lasting power. We are here to construct a new reality where black people are sovereign, self-sufficient, and untouchable. We will not beg for inclusion into a system that was designed to exploit us. Instead, we will create an independent, parallel infrastructure that is beyond external control. We build wealth that cannot be extracted. We create infrastructure that cannot be dismantled. We teach knowledge that cannot be erased. We move with strategy, intelligence, and discipline. This playbook is not a theory, it is an executable strategy for black sovereignty. By the time this playbook is implemented, black people will own and control their economies. Black communities will be self-sufficient in food, energy, and security. Black media will control its own narratives, free from corporate suppression. Black institutions will exist outside the reach of external influence. This is not about asking permission, this is about taking control. This is a blueprint for true black liberation. The most powerful form of control is not physical violence, economic deprivation, or social discrimination. It is psychological control. If you can control a person's mind, you don't need to control their body. A mentally enslaved person will limit themselves, enforce their own oppression, and defend the very system that keeps them in chains. For black people to achieve true sovereignty, we must free our minds from the programming that has been deeply ingrained in us for centuries. This is not just about learning history, it's about unlearning lies, rejecting fear-based conditioning, and restoring a mindset of power, ownership, and self-determination. Without this step, every attempt at economic or structural independence will ultimately collapse from within. The first act of mental liberation is recognizing that we do not need permission to be free. Too often, black people wait for external validation before taking action. This is a learned behavior designed to keep us in a state of permanent subservience. Steps to break psychological dependence. Stop seeking permission. If an action benefits black sovereignty, do it and do it unapologetically. Reject false authority. Figures, governments, religious leaders, celebrities and academics are not the gatekeepers of black freedom. Embrace decisiveness. Overthinking and hesitating are forms of mental stagnation that prevent action. Reclaim the mindset of builders. Instead of waiting for inclusion, focus on creating independent black-led systems. Deprogramming is not enough. We must actively replace the mental chains with a new framework. Once the old mental conditioning is dismantled, it must be replaced with principles of sovereignty, self-sufficiency, and strategic power building. The new black sovereignty mindset: ownership over employment. Black wealth cannot grow if we remain permanent employees of white-owned institutions. Production over consumption. Wealth is created by producing and controlling resources, not by spending. Strategy over emotion. Emotional responses keep us reactionary. Strategic thinking allows us to build. Community over individualism. Black liberation is collective, not individual. Fearlessness over compliance. Resistance and sovereignty require bold action, not passive obedience. The system maintains control by keeping black people distracted, divided, and misinformed. To break free, we must recognize and reject these tactics. Top 5 misdirection tactics used to keep black people subjugated. False black leadership. The system promotes controlled black figures who push inactivity, compliance, and meaningless activism instead of real power building. Manufactured gender wars. Black men and women are pitted against each other to prevent family and economic unity. Social media addictions. Endless debates, gossip, and distractions keep people talking instead of building. Celebrity and entertainment worship. The glorification of entertainers over intellectual leaders shifts focus away from meaningful progress. Fear tactics. Any attempt at black independence is labeled radical, dangerous, or illegal to discourage collective action. Daily reprogramming techniques. Read books on black empowerment and economic strategy, for example, Amos Wilson, Dr. Claude Anderson, Marcus Garvey, Neely Fuller Jr., Dr. Henrik Clark. Limit exposure to mainstream media. Control your own narrative. Don't let others define your reality. Unplug from social media debates. Action produces results, debates do not. Speak affirmations of power daily. Words shape reality. Speak wealth, ownership, and sovereignty into existence. Surround yourself with builders. Cut off people who promote weakness, negativity, or inaction. Develop a black sovereignty skill set. Learn farming, real estate, business development, digital security, or legal defense. Mindset is the foundation of action. The system does not fear black protests. The system fears black organization, wealth building, and strategic independence. By committing to deprogramming, we lay the foundation for economic, digital, and physical sovereignty. Without mental freedom, every other step in the liberation playbook is meaningless. This is the first and most important battle, the battle for the mind. Are you ready to break free? Since we've identified clear patterns of suppression, it's important to adapt how we discuss strategic black empowerment in a way that ensures continuity, resilience, and expansion. Rather than relying on direct historical case studies which seem to trigger resistance, we will analyze the key principles, patterns, and methodologies that have successfully allowed black communities to build economic independence, secure infrastructure, and resist external control. What is a movement immune system? A movement immune system is a defensive strategy that ensures any external attacks, whether economic, digital, legal, or psychological, are absorbed and neutralized without crippling the movement. Just like the human body develops immunity to viruses, a movement must have built-in protections against known forms of attack. Many movements fail because they grow too quickly and attract premature attention. The goal is to expand in a controlled, strategic way that avoids unnecessary exposure while still reaching key people. Controlled expansion strategy, the 5-to-5 training model. Each person trains 5 people who then train 5 more. This creates exponential growth without mass public exposure. Localized cells. Instead of one central hub, rather than one large organization, use independent, self-sustaining groups with a shared vision. Adaptable and low-profile growth. The movement should not rely on social media for recruitment. Instead, it should grow through real-world trust networks. Hidden knowledge versus public messaging. The core strategies remain private, while only surface-level messaging is public-facing. Many people believe liberation is simply about protest, representation, or policy changes. This is an illusion. Liberation is about having the power to create an independent reality where black people are economically, socially, and structurally sovereign. That means we own our food, land, banks, and industries. We control our media, education, and security. We build networks that cannot be dismantled by external forces. We are not begging for justice. We are building a system where we no longer need permission to exist. True liberation is not given. It is built. It is taken. It is enforced. If you found this of interest, stay tuned for the next video. Thank you for joining us, and there is no need to like and subscribe when you are building your own freedom.